I'm a lazy person. I've never been anything but upfront about that, and that's why it supremely pisses me off when I get called lazy when I'm actually not being lazy in that moment. This was a long time ago, but apparently I've never gotten over it because I think about it like twice a month and I feel like I never fully resolved it. But I have a cat. My cat sleeps in a large crate in the garage at night so he doesn't scratch at the door and pee everywhere. For the longest time, we used to keep his food right out there next to the crate in a big bin with a lid on it, which meant that when it was time for him to eat, I could just go out there, open the bin, and scoop his food into the bowl with zero hassle. Then my mom decided to move the food out of the bin in the garage, through an entire hallway, and rest it in a glass jar by the back door near the kitchen instead because she thought it was getting stale out there, even though there was zero evidence of that, and I'm pretty sure she didn't taste test it. My cat sure never complained, he always tears into his food. So I objected to this idea because I did not want to have to scoop out a pile of food from the kitchen, carry it all the way down a whole ass hallway, open a heavy garage door, and walk into the middle of the garage where the crate is to drop it off, just to have to walk all the way back and redeposit the now empty scoop back into the jar. When I made this clear, I was called lazy, and boy did I get mad, because yep, I guess nobody in my family has ever done anything to make their lives more convenient in the 60 years they've been on this earth. Not once. My dad keeps a group of pens on his desk at work. My question is why he doesn't keep them in a buried treasure chest at the bottom of the Mariana Trench instead. If he needs a pen, I don't see why he shouldn't be okay with driving to the coast, swimming over to the South Pacific Ocean, and diving 1,100 meters to retrieve one. Is he just lazy? Why even install bathrooms in office buildings? Everyone should just drive home when they have to go. Wanting things to be convenient means you're lazy, after all. My dad'll set the table for dinner and bring over the salt and pepper shakers we usually keep on the counter. I'm like, whoa, 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 leave those on the counter, my man. We don't take shortcuts around here. If you want salt and pepper, go pick up your big old plate of food and shuffle on over there, buddy. Convenience is the enemy of agency, bro. Honestly, we shouldn't even be eating at a table. We should be out foraging for berries and edible mushrooms. The cavemen worked for everything they got. That's who I want to model my life after. You like that absolutely shit-eating tone and attitude? It's infuriating even when I'm doing it. Decisions made at the altar of convenience are everywhere in all of our lives. We have little trash cans in every bathroom in the house. Convenience. We keep our fridge in the kitchen for easy cooking access. Convenience. We keep the TV remotes by the TV instead of in the trunk of our neighbor's car. Convenience. I never in my life want to hear ever again that anything I do in the name of convenience is akin to laziness. I wanted to put two related things closer together. The idea that you can cast an aspersion on me for that when so many decisions you make without even thinking about them are in pursuit of the exact same goal is just flagrantly unacceptable, and thus I had to put it in a stream of consciousness in order to hopefully get over it. I'm not going to pretend I'm super keyed into black culture, so I don't know how long this term has been around, but I heard it for the first time a couple months ago, and it feels like it's really gotten popularized and spread around outside that circle to where I hear it brought up all the time now. And that term is AAVE. AAVE stands for African American Vernacular English, which is essentially a dialect for black people that uses a bunch of the slang they've invented along the way. From a cursory Google search, it seems like it used to be called BVE, or maybe still is in some places, but then they replaced black with African American because that's the politically correct terminology for all black people in America, even if you're Jamaican, which is not part of Africa. And you might be like, well, if you go back far enough, every black person is a descendant of Africans. True, but so is every person on Earth. The first humans evolved in Africa. That makes us all African Americans, and we don't need to talk about race ever again. But so recently, the newest extension of language policing has come from certain people who want to crack down on non-black people's usage of black-made terminology. They don't want non-black people saying shit like bae, lit, fam, slay, turn up, etc. What they want, in no minced words, is to segregate language. Many branches of the woke revolution are at their core about resegregation of certain aspects, but on their own terms this time. Separate but equal, but like actually equal. If you ask the ones in favor of it, they never agree with that classification, but it's easily observable. They want segregation of language, aka don't use our words, segregation of culture, aka don't wear our clothes or try to do our music or critique our movies, segregation of life experience, aka don't claim to understand our struggle or what it's like to be us in America, and if you thought far enough, you could probably find other examples. Now, this isn't all black people, to be clear, and I've never been talking about entire groups, whether black or progressive, just the people within them that that do fit the bill. And if you want to argue against their existence, you better be prepared to argue against the nature of reality along with it. If you want to argue against the size of their numbers, you have a point. But in the case of something like Twitter, where this issue can trend nationally and result in millions of people talking about it, all it takes is very few people making a coordinated fuss about something for it to spread like wildfire, while your average open-minded liberal Twitter user will see a woke black dude complaining about other people using AAVE and default to supporting his perspective because he's black and woke, and she thinks in order to remain on the right side of history, you have to write those people a blank check for every opinion they ever have for the rest of time in order to ancestrally apologize for slavery or whatever. It's socially enforced sheepism. Those people demand you be a sheep or be cast out, and when you're punished for thinking too much, it's easier not to. The thing that really put the AAVE thing into focus was criticism of non-black people using the word bussin'. Specifically, some popular for God knows why YouTubers were using it during a live stream or something, and they're white, and they were evidently using it incorrectly. Bussin' is supposed to refer to food being good. If you got a killer-tasting pork chop on a plate, you'd be like, holy shit, fam, this pork chop bussin', man, I'ma eat this all up on God. You could also throw like 10 more slang words in there if you wanted. There's no such thing as too much AAVE shit, you feel me? But so bussin' is supposed to only be about food, but I guess they were using it to describe an outfit or something, and these are people who trend on Twitter literally every single fucking day just because they stream Minecraft and all their fans are 11, so if they do so much as say, yo, you better believe there'll be 6 hashtags about it instantly. It's one thing to be like, hey, you're using this word wrong, this is what it's supposed to mean, you stupid dumb white kids with too many followers who clog up the trending tab no matter how many words I mute in my settings. It's another thing to be like, hey, you're white, you don't get to use this word even if you start doing it right. Imagine telling an entire race of people they can't do something and attempting to speak for your entire race in the process. Hey, on behalf of all black people, since I was democratically elected as Speaker of the race, I'm formally telling you not to say bussin' because I care about this issue, therefore all black people care about this issue. We all share feelings, and when one of us gets cut, we all bleed, so yeah. It's even better when the white savior comes down like they were elected to speak for black people. Here's the deal. If there is an issue that divides a race of people who aren't my race, and for the sake of argument, let's say half of them are offended by something and half of them don't care, I'm going to side with whoever doesn't care, because I probably also don't care. Being offended shouldn't win you anything. Your feelings are not 100% in lockstep with objective morality. Being offended is like being physically hurt in this one specific way. A physical wound demands a physical wounding to have taken place. You don't get a knife-shaped gash in your arm without a knife having gashed. But having that wound doesn't mean someone did that to you. It's possible to do it to yourself, and it's possible to do it to yourself and blame someone else. It's also possible to feel pain and have no wound at all. So next time you're offended, really think about which of these scenarios is the one that really transpired. All this said, bussin' is not in my particular lexicon, nor do I see it ever getting there. I like to pick and choose the vernacular I appropriate, as is my prerogative as an English-speaking person whose mouth opens and whose tongue works. If I ever hear Asian slang, I might pick that up too. I might call someone a tsundere every once in a while if they are one. I really want to see a conversation between a black person who doesn't want non-black people to say bussin' but says anime slang all the time, and an Asian who doesn't want non-Asian people to say anime slang. How would they fight? Who would win? Find out in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. America is supposed to be a melting pot of culture. We're supposed to blend. We all live here together. We're all supposed to share things and coexist. These restrictive rules of engagement don't work for me. If I want to say Liddy is a titty, I'm gonna. I don't care what my skin color is. The entire English language is appropriated from every culture imaginable. We take their root words and change them up a bit. Watch a spelling bee. Wait till the kid asks for the etymology, the language of origin. The judge never says, that one's an English original. Maybe don't freak out over slang ownership, because nobody owns words unless they copyrighted them, and even that's some bullshit. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino, and I'll see you guys next time, fam.